Hello and welcome to AI with a Human Touch. I am Cami Heise, the human behind the AI in this presentation. I am so glad to have you here today. I know you are probably wondering about this new world and all of the new tools that are coming up with artificial intelligence, natural language processing, large language models. I mean, you've probably heard all kinds of vocabulary, prompts. I don't know. There's a lot of things that we are starting to hear about as creators, as people that do this for a living. And there's a lot of fear too. Like, is this going to take away our jobs? Is this going to cause us to have a problem with what we're doing? And I wanted to share with you today some of the things I've been learning. I'm going to PRSA Icon in a couple of days. I leave on Friday, which is as of I record this tomorrow. And I'm going to be speaking about this in much more depth at PRSA Icon, which is in Nashville. So if you're coming to that conference, please let me know. Definitely leave a comment for me here wherever you're watching this. This is actually streaming on several different social media platforms. So I can see your comments. So definitely let me know if you're here. I would love to talk to you while we're going along. Actually, I'm going to open the comments box so I can see you. Yeah, I can. So, let me know if you're here. And also, if you're going to be coming to PR Day Houston, which is coming up in November, early November, I think it's the second, PR Day Houston, you can find that just with a quick Google search, is going to be an amazing day as well. And I'm going to give a similar speech there as well, but going in much more depth than we do today. But I wanted to touch the surface because I've talked about AI a couple of times on my live stream, but I'm going to tell you what, it's changing really fast. Really fast. Some of the things I talked about even a month ago, I have like updated with new information. And I'm going to keep coming back and talking here occasionally about these things and how they fit into what PR, marketers, communicators, if you're a writer, an editor, a photographer, hey, I have a son that's an actor. This is affecting a lot of different professions, and it definitely is impacting our profession maybe the most. I don't want to go into like putting what's more or less, but I guess what I wanted to show you was really quickly. I want to show you. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm tabbed, which is interesting. I don't normally do that. Anyways, okay, I'm going to show you a couple of things, and I'm going to talk through a couple of the ideas that I want you to take away from this, and some tools that you need to know about, and some new things and different ways of doing things that are happening out there. So if you are interested in this, let me know. And let me know if you find this helpful. So if you do find this helpful, definitely do all the things. If you not follow me, like it, share it, comment on it, share it with your friends, because I do think that this is going to be really important for our profession. Okay, that being said, I just want to kind of launch into a couple of ideas that I have. I'm going to go over the ideas and then kind of dig deeper at the end. Okay, so first of all, um, is it's number one is that you're going to have to learn how to talk with the AI, meaning that we have heard a lot about prompting, right? Prompting the AI to answer you, da da da. But one of the things that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about is prepping the AI or training the AI. And these are really very important because that's before you prompt it to ask it to do what you want it to do. You have to give it context. And so context is everything when it comes to artificial intelligence. Putting in the context to what you're trying to get is super, super important. And so that is one of the things that I think we are not great at yet. And so there are a lot of questions that you need to ask the AI. And one of the interesting things that, hey, this might be a mind bender to you, is to ask the AI what it needs in order for it to give you the answers that you want. So, for example, if you are writing something to a specific audience, you might start by giving the AI a very detailed description of who your audience actually is, instead of saying to it, "Hey, put together email to me about XYZ. Instead, you might say, I have this audience that I'm trying to reach, and this is who they are. And the more information you give the AI, the better. So, their demographics, their age, all of the things we put into a creative brief would go into the AI. Now, we're going to talk a little bit at the end about safety and whether you should be putting that into an AI. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute too. But first of all, you're going to have a conversation with the AI. And the first thing you're going to do is ask it a series of questions. And those questions are really important because they're going to set the stage for whether the AI is successful in creating something for you that doesn't sound like it's absolutely um, robotic, I guess is the best way to put it, right? And so, inside of that, there's some basic questions. And I found three different types of questions. First are those focus questions, which are about what your the advantages of what you have to offer over your competitors. You're narrowing that focus for the AI, so they understand that you have these competitors, who they are, what they are, and then some more detailed questions where you can say, ask the AI about things that it can help you with. So there's a couple of things you need to do with the questions. The first one is like to ask it, what do you need me to give you in order to be successfully write this email? What information should I put in to make that successful? And that AI, at least if it's ChatGPT or Bard, I've checked it on both, they will spit back to you a list of questions of things they need. And then all you have to do is answer those questions. Say, take that aside, answer those questions, bring it back, and then put it in. I like ChatGPT for that a little bit, and also Bard. They're both very good for that and Bard is a Google product, which I kind of like for some things because it can search. It's using some search data that's a little bit more recent than, say, a free Chat GPT, which is using 3.5. If you're using a paid Chat GPT, that's a little bit different. You get a 4, which is a little bit more sophisticated. And by the way, these models are moving really fast. Things that were not that sophisticated even a couple of months ago are very sophisticated now. I had a friend of mine, Frank Prendergast, who actually went back and did the same prompts that he did about 3 or 4 months ago, and the difference was insane. Really, for Midjourney, that was a visual prompt, and Midjourney is a really great um, way for you to visualize things. The thing you see in front of you right now that I have here, I did in Midjourney. So there you go. Now, if you're going to use Midjourney for commercial purposes, you have to be extremely careful because they train this on other people's art, right? So you have to be careful with art. That's going to be something that we can talk about too as we go along. There is a lot of things we have to be clear about as we move forward. And there's a lot of different organizations that are working on this right now. And I'll tell you what's happening. I'll do the State of the Union towards the end about what's happening in this. But I will tell you that in general, we are not going to necessarily ever put this genie back in the bottle, right? I hope you know that. Like, we're going to have to learn how to deal with this in a way that we understand it as professionals. And then also we can take that knowledge that we have to apply it to either using this technology, which is great, or if you're going to fight this technology, you better understand how it works, because you're going to have to be able to stand up to the man, or whatever you want to say, but you're going to have to be able to talk about what guidelines or guardrails need to be put in. And so you may be on the regulatory side and you're like, we need to do some regulation. And that's great, because if you are going to do regulation, you still need to understand how the tools work and understand exactly where that's coming from, because that's going to help you in your fight against AI, if you want to say it that way. Okay. So that being said, you're going to talk to AI. You're going to ask it questions so that you can get the answers from it, so you know what you need to put in. So you don't need to guess. It's really interesting, but don't feel afraid of the empty, you know, uh, search bar in any kind of AI, because you want to ask it a question. There are a ton of tools out there now, a ton, that have taken these huge AI models. They all have what they call APIs, or they're able to share that information with other kinds of tools. And those tools are taking those and they're actually applying a layer of programming on top of the large language models that is actually refining it for specific purposes. So there are a lot of niche type of tools coming up. I can't show it to you right now, but there's a really great website called toolsforhumans.ai, tools for humans, FOR, tools like normal tools, TOOLS, for FOR, humans with an S, dot AI. And it has a list, a database, and I'm looking at it right now, but it's got a database of all of the AI tools it can find. And I have to be honest with you, there's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of these tools that have cropped up over the last couple of years and months. And so I would say that the adoption curve is high right now. People want to learn how to use the different tools, and so a lot of them are buying into other tools that do some of that heavy lifting for them of this conversation I'm telling you you need to have with the AI. They've had that conversation. They've put together a very specific set of instructions for that AI, and they may even have like a repository of those things. And so, yeah, there's a interesting thing going on right now, and a lot of people are selling you prompts and selling you this and selling you that. I can tell you, there's a lot of tools out there, and I will be sharing more of those as we go along. If you're interested in the tool side of things, definitely leave a comment here and say, "Yeah, I want more about tools." I can review a couple of different tools during some of these lives over the next few months. Just let me know that's what you want. If you're really confused about the tools, I understand there's just lots of them. And so that's something that's just going to happen in the next couple of months because we're going to have that situation. All right, great. So that being said, the next thing you need to do once you've had that conversation with the AI and asked it what it needs from you in order to be successful for that particular project, then you're going to want to, oh, one of the things before I move on from this, when you're in something like ChatGPT, um, you can actually create a thread. So on the left side of ChatGPT, and Bard does this too, they put a thread with the name of what that search was. You can always go back to your searches where you train that AI and actually ask the question inside of the same thread. If you do that, what you would like to do, yeah, thank you, Yvonne. I will definitely do that. Thanks for letting me know you want that. Cool. So if you go into ChatGPT and on the left-hand side, there are like where you searched for or started this conversation, I would say, with your AI, you can always go back to that specific conversation and pick it back up again. It will remember it for a certain amount of time. It's about 30 days. It does not last beyond 30 days unless you pay the monthly fee for that. And also, if it gets too long, it will forget what's at the top because they limit the amount of, I'd say, characters that you can read in that particular thing, or that it can remember back because they have server space problems. I mean, they don't have unlimited server space, and so they only give a certain amount of space. So just remember that if you spend some time training a AI, you can just go back to that thread and work through it. Same thing with Bard. There's another one called Claude, Claude 2, that can do much longer pieces. Like you can put a whole PDF in that one, and it can train it that way. So it has more spaces that it will allow you for the same memory. It has a longer memory. Let's just put it that way. But they all happen within threads. So you can't just go to a new chat and expect it to remember what you said in like 3 chats back. You have to go back to that chat and go back in that one again. So that's just a little tip with working with the main models, not with all these little, Jaspers and all these others that are out there. and I use some of them too, but I'm not going to get too deep into that. Just understand that if you start having this conversation, you can pick it back up again up to about 30 days or so. Okay, great. The second thing that is going to happen is, yes, you're going to have to ask it question, and then P.S., you're going to have to teach it your voice. It does not know how you want it to write. And I love that ChatGPT now has custom instructions in it. So inside of ChatGPT, you can get custom instructions. I will show you in just a minute what those look like. If you just hold on, I just want to get through these 3 things. So number 1, you're going to ask it questions and you're going to get some stuff. Number 2, you're going to teach it how you speak, like how you want your writing to be. And that is going to help it to have a much more human sound and sound a lot more like you. That's great. The third thing is obviously that we are going to be coworkers with the AI. And I use this particular graphic. The last two graphics were from Midjourney. This one is from Dolly, which is part of ChatGPT, and actually OpenAI, which is part of ChatGPT. So I kind of did one there just so you could see the difference. So this is a little bit more realistic and kind of funky. It's not as good as Midjourney yet, because it's a little further behind. Midjourney was kind of like this at the beginning too. And by the way, the beginning was only a couple of months ago. So yeah, so let's say 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 10 months ago, whatever it was, a year. And in a year, it's gone to what you saw in that last slide, right? So this is so much more realistic than say this. But yeah, I used to get a lot of these from Midjourney when we first started. So Dolly is there. Dolly is also a paid product. Midjourney is a paid product. The problem with the visual arts ones is that many of them require you to have Discord and use it Discord to create the prompts. And so I happen to have a group that I'm a part of with Mark Schaefer on Discord. We are, we just wrote a book together not that long ago called The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever. And this group of individuals are all huge explorers, digital media, digital explorers. In marketing and PR. So I would recommend that you buy the book if you want to and hear what we have to say about that. But this group has been really good with that. But anyway, so one of the things I will tell you is that you can get this Dolly for free right now if you go through the Microsoft Creator tool. And I'll show you in a minute on my screen what that looks like. So right now it costs $20 a month for Dolly and ChatGPT and whatever else OpenAI comes up with. You're paying OpenAI for their suite of tools. You can do the same thing with Adobe, by the way. The Adobe Creative Cloud has Firefly, which also is this kind of a generative tool, which will generate images. And by the way, I even heard, Getty Images are going to be doing something similar. So again, this is like a growing area that I think is coming sooner than later. So just keeping your eye on it is really important. I am going to be keeping my eye on it. So follow me if you want to. I did put in my in the description a way for you to sign up for a future workshop with me. I do these free workshops occasionally called Instant Authority, and I've baked AI and how to use AI to create like I think 12 weeks of content. So I'll probably do one of those in early 2024 and maybe sooner. I don't know. You guys might be able to drag me into it. It's a lot of work to put them together, but definitely sign up for that because I also send out a lot of emails. I say a lot, not that many. I send out maybe once a week if I get to it. I didn't get to mine today. I was supposed to send one out this morning. Sorry, Tracy. So that's what I do. So if you get on my list there, I'm going to be able to keep you up to date with certain things that are happening with this. Okay, great. So let me move on. This is I'm going to kind of pull myself back because I only shared my tab, which was not very helpful. So I'm going to have to stop sharing the screen and reshare so I can show you a couple of things that I think you're going to find really interesting. All right, let's do this. All right, presenting. I'm going to do my share my screen and make sure I don't do tabs this side. I'll do my whole window so you can see it. And basically what this is I told you about being able to get something like ChatGPT to have your voice in it. And I'm just going to show you really quick. I'm going to make it bigger so you can see because it is, you don't need to see my face right now. All right, let me pull this out and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So luckily, we can actually now uh, put our voice, even in the free version, into ChatGPT. So for example, if you click on this, and go to custom instructions. It's really easy. You just click on the three dots at the bottom left. I have this in black mode, so it's a little hard to see, but it just pops up this little pop-up and it says custom instructions. Well, I'm using the free version of ChatGPT and I still have this. So here is what I've done. I've gone through, and by the way, I asked ChatGPT what it needed from me in order to be, know what my voice is. So I've spent a lot of time on this. Also, it does give you these little custom instruction information here. So you can click on the learn more and it does give you information about how to do this. But if you look at mine, this one it says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And this is very much um, bio information, but very specific to my audience in mind. So I tell them the specific initiatives that I have, who I'm a founder of, that kind of stuff. So when it talks about me or our services, it understands it. I tell them what services I offer. Um, I talk about my credibility as an agency leader and founder, which I've done for Oh, over 20 years now. And then before that, I was in corporate America. By the way, and I'm working on rewriting my bio too with ChatGPT. It's been a very interesting process. Anyway, so how would you? And then the second part of this, and by the way, you have 1,500 characters, and you can have ChatGPT help you write this. Okay, so keep taking what you have and putting it back into ChatGPT and say, hey, does this really get at for you? What I remember I told you ask it questions. Does this really tell you what you need in order to provide better responses? So that's some of the questions I've asked it. What do you need for me to provide better responses? Um, and it tells me, and then I answer the question, and then I pulled it together, and then I brought it back in here, and then it got too long, and then I said, hey, reduce this to 1,500 words and help me figure this out. So I'm trying to put stuff in here that it will understand by asking it how to do it. And then the second part was, how would you like chat gpt to respond? And we ended up with this. I say we because I worked with chat gpt to do this. I ended up with these 5 things: my writing style, and I was very specific about what I liked. Always write in an active voice. That's very important for me. Um, Subject, verb, object, very important because I think it's very important to say exactly what you mean and make people understand. Emphasis, use the emphasis on this as being um, really like I don't want a lot of hyperbole, a lot of paragraphs. I want them to be small, simple. I want everything to be short, um, punchy. And then I found this really interesting thing: craft content with a balance of perplexiness and burstiness. And what that means is perplexity is really all about creating things that are um I would say short, and bursty and like varied, and burstiness is varied size. So like not all of the sentences are the same length. That is something that Chat GPT specifically likes to do. It likes to make everything even and organized, and it will be very chatty. It will like lots of run-on sentences or run-on paragraphs, like too many words, for this type of writing that I do, which is online mostly. So you want it to be short, you want it to be interesting. You don't want it to use the same old cliches and things that everybody else is using. So that's what I did. And then identity was my third one. How to address me. You can put your pronouns there if that's important to you. And then I talked about opinions and about how when I do share opinions, I prefer to present them in a way that educates or inspires or gives insights rather than just complaining or moaning. Some people like to just put out really, kind of controversial statements, and that's fine. That's somebody else's style. It's definitely not mine. So, and then the last one is branded hashtags. I gave it my branded hashtags, which, are coming and going. I don't know. So that's really how you can get ChatGPT specifically to get your voice. But here's the cool thing: if you do this work, and I just went through, I know a lot of work, I get it. But if you do this work, you can take those sentences and store them elsewhere and also use them in other AI models and say, hey, can you write like this for me? And then ask your question. It's just a cut and paste project, right? So you may want to start keeping a library of these types of prompts, or what I call, just like priming. They're priming statements for your AIs. So you can take this priming statement and say, this is who I am, and here's what I need from you. And you're going to get better results. I'm getting better results. I think you will too. And, sometimes I also want to say this: when you're done with something like this, you also need to go back through and put and insert your humanness in it, in the sense of like put stories in, put background, put whatever. So not only will it have your voice, but also it's going to have your storytelling in it. And that is something that an AI can't do. They don't have anecdotes, they don't have experiences like that. All they can do is report what they've heard before. And so I'm going to be talking at PRSA about AI really being like you're a chef. You're a chef of the recipe. And the recipe takes a lot of things. It takes, all the ingredients, and the ingredients are things like the AI models, the tools, the prompts, all these ingredients. I mean, actually, not the tools. The tools are another thing, but like the whole underlying thing is the AI model. The big, huge AI models like ChatGPT, like Bard, like all of these big ones, Lambda, and some others. And by the way, all of the big tech companies will have big AI models, and they're the only ones who can afford to have them because they're really expensive and they take a lot of data, and so they need data farms and so on. So there's going to be a lot of competitors, but they're going to be few, kind of like the big social media platforms. There's so many, but there's not that many that are that big. So like the Facebooks and the Twitter, well, sorry, Twitter X, the X, and the LinkedIn's and so on, and Snapchat and TikTok. TikTok came out of nowhere and they're like, where did that come from? So there's going to be competitors, but that is really the same with the AI models. So those are really your ingredients that you're working with. And then on top of that, you're going to have your recipes, your spices, how you put it together. And that is the creative value. This is just another like mold of clay that you have if you're an artist, right? You have a lump of clay on the desk. That doesn't suddenly mean that that's art. You have to take that lump of clay and shape it. And that is what I'm talking about, is that you need to learn to have these conversations with the AI so you're shaping what's coming out the other side. And it is not easy. It takes almost more time to do it than to just, create. Like sometimes I'm like, I could just write this myself faster than like going through this process, but I'm forcing myself to go through the process a number of different ways so that I am educated. We need to be educated as communicators. We will be irrelevant if we don't keep educated. And I've been doing this for, I don't know, I've been 30 something years at this point. I mean, I feel like really old, but when I first started, I had to talk my team at my work, my first office, to stop, hand delivering stuff, and that faxes were the faxes were okay. And then we had to go from faxes to email, and then we had to go from email to social media, and then we had to like manage that. And all of the printed materials started going away because everything was online. And I was writing a magazine at the time. It was crazy. I mean, I've been through these over and over and over again, these pivots where it seems like the world is literally ending, and it's actually not. So, I mean, I just really not. I don't believe that it is. So I'm kind of feeling like we need to really just take this by the horn. So tell me if you're interested in that. If you're somebody who's like, I need to learn this stuff, let me know. Also, I just will let you know that just, the other week, like last week, I think it was last week already, the White House came up with a printed a blueprint for AI, and I have it right here. So I'm going to just share my screen. It's a blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights. And this AI Bill of Rights, which I'm trying to pull up here, so give me a second to do it. The AI Bill of Rights is something that they're trying to get all of the tech companies to partake in. And this is not coming, so I don't know why, but that's okay. Add to the stage. Okay, here we go. I had to add it to stage. Okay, cool. Well, that's new. All right, see, that's something new in my program. And so I'm not asking you to read this, but they asked these principles and all of these algorithms and safety and stuff, and they had all of the big players come to the White House, and they was a number of them, a handful of them, of big players in this field, OpenAI and Microsoft and others, that agreed to this. Okay, so this is like kind of a new thing. And you can just go to AI Bill of Rights and it will pop right up. You can read about it. It has a lot of information. I haven't even gotten all the way through it. I've been working through it, but data privacy, no, and all of this notice and application. But that does bring me to exactly what I was talking about at the beginning, which is is this safe, right? Is this actually safe for us to use as professionals? And the question is not answered. So there are a lot of interesting people. I actually went to a legal webinar just a few days ago, talking about these different pieces. One of the things which I already knew was true is that if you are a contractor of any kind, you probably need to add this or something about this to your contracts so that it is clear if you're using any generative AI in your work product, because the work product has to be, I don't know. I mean, right now, according to the companies, they have inside of their terms of use that you can take the things off their platforms and use them as as your own, art or whatever, your own created stuff. But there's a lot of lawsuits out there right now from artists, from people who say, you stole my stuff and I see it and I need you to, compensate me for that. And so they are working through that. They have made some agreements with some of these artists to compensate them. So I do happen with music. I don't know if you remember this, but right now, if you play anything on YouTube, it will get stricken down immediately if they hear that it is something, even if it's playing in the background, it'll get stricken down, or these companies will take over the revenue share for that particular video sometimes. It depends on the revenue. But I think the same thing is going to happen with this. There's going to be a lot of case law. And so in the meanwhile, you need to be having that in your documents. And I wouldn't highly lean into using these for commercial purposes in the sense of, like fulfilling, putting together a new product or something like that. I think for content creation, you'll probably get away with some of that a little bit more. I say get away with it. I think that it's not going to be as big of a problem because it was warranted to you as such by the company. So I think the companies at first are going to have to just clean up their act and make sure that they get their act together. And that's part of what the White House was doing with their Bill of Rights. And I think that, that's an interesting thing. I think there's legislation to follow, probably not immediately, but it will. And the FTC will probably be involved. The FTC guidelines were just updated again for that going forward. And I don't know if this is going to fall under that or something else. So this is going to be like kind of Wild West for a while. And so if you are using generative AI, you should also make sure that you have errors and omissions insurance. Really, really important that you do. If you don't, it's really easy to get. I get it from Hiscox, HISCOX.com. You can also go to your insurance agent and ask about it. But as a agency owner, I've had it for years and I will continue to have it. You just never know when something is going to go awry and go a different way. So having it in your contracts, having it having insurance to cover any kind of errors and omissions where maybe somebody comes after you, even though you didn't mean to. It wasn't something you knew about because it was an AI model. So those are kind of my thoughts about right now, safety. And also the other thing on the other side of the coin is your due diligence with the tools you use. So there are so many tools, and I would be very careful about using a lot of them for your client work until you really understand them, including their terms of service. Really boring reading, really terrible, but understanding what they're doing with your data when you put it into the system is really, really important, because some of them do have agreements with you that they will not use your data for training, and that's what you want to hear. If they're not using your data for training, that helps you to be feeling pretty comfortable about using your customer data in there. But being careful about IP at all times, like nothing that hasn't been released into the world should you be putting as a name or brand name or or anything like that the into the AI models, because then it learns that IP and it might use it for somebody else, just that knowledge. So you have to be careful if it's training on your data. Those are the keywords. Is it training on your data? That's one. And also, is it storing your data, or is it, keeping it in like your own little server area where it's not actually, accessing it? That's the question. But again, you're using other people's tools. So and you're not going to be able to build a large language model. So, well, maybe you are. I don't know who's listening in. There may be somebody here who's quite capable of building one, but I am not. And so neither are you. But they're going to give you a way to, shape that and use that and even create it. There's a bot that I'm looking at right now for my website that I can have it scrape my website, and then you can go ask that bot questions and it will tell you exactly where to find those things on my website. And then if it can't answer your questions, it will switch to ChatGPT and give you some information and answers if you say it can. And so, I just, there's a lot of tools that are going to be really helpful. Anyway, so that is a lot in a very short period of time, and I don't want to keep going, but yeah, cool. So she wants more information about the AI and she had to leave. That's fine. No worries. And take care, guys. Have a great day. Let me know if you have questions in the chat. Let me know if there's a tool that you want me to review. There is a ton of them. I mean, I just cloned my own voice. I cloned my own voice last week. I'm going to actually demo that at Icon at PRSA, but I cloned my voice and it is scarily similar to my voice. And so you can see why actors, voice actors, are very nervous about this tool. I absolutely can understand why people are feeling nervous about it. Um, it is scary in some ways, but also it gives us an opportunity to create something and understand something in a way that is going to actually help instead of harm, because these things are coming. And so we need to have people that are involved with it that actually have the best interest of other people in mind, and not just the profits of those companies. So, anyway, I'll talk to you later. Those are my ideas. There's so much going on right now. I just wanted to update you. And those are a couple of my latest musings on this. And hopefully that helped you out. And definitely make sure you sign up for the future Incident Authority workshop, which we do with AI. Make sure you sign up there so that you get contacted. I mean, I send out a few emails about once a week or so, and I also work with PR and marketing agency owners and solopreneurs. And if you are one of those, I also have a mentoring program for you that actually is going to open up in a couple of days. So if you're interested in that, let me know. That's something where we do talk about this all the time, and actually more than talk about it, we actually try these things on and do different projects to see if we can't use this to help us with different kinds of ideas. So anyway, let me know, DM me, leave me a comment. I'm here for you. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.